And it was Monday. From Mark 11:15 through 19. Then they came to Jerusalem, and he entered the temple and began to drive out those who were selling and those who were buying in the temple. And he overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold doves. And he would not allow anyone to carry anything through the temple. He was teaching and saying, "Is it not written, 'My house shall be called a house of prayer for all the nations'? But you have made it a den of robbers." And when the chief priests and the scribes heard it, they kept looking for a way to kill him, for they were afraid of him, because the whole crowd was spellbound by his teaching. And when evening came, Jesus and his disciples went out of the city. It was very early on Monday morning, and those who were with Jesus were beginning to wake up. They quietly talked about how happy they were at all that had happened the day before. Jesus riding into Jerusalem on the donkey colt, so many people lining the streets as he rode into the city. The people were cheering, even laying their coats down on the street for the donkey to walk over just as they did for a king. "Finally," they said, "finally. Everyone knows what we know. Jesus is king." When Jesus and the others woke up, they decided to go back to Jerusalem. Jesus wanted to go to the temple. When they were still a bit of a distance away, they noticed an odd look on Jesus' face. Then, when they were in the temple, the look on his face surprised those who were with him. They had never seen such a look of anger on Jesus' face. Why was he so angry? Then what Jesus did shocked them. There were people in the temple who were selling doves for sacrifice, and others who would exchange money from one country to the money needed to buy things in Jerusalem, money changers. Jesus walked over to the tables and then turned them over, making so much noise everyone in the temple stopped and looked at what he was doing. He even told those who were buying things to stop it. What was he doing? What was wrong with Jesus? His followers were afraid for him and them. They saw the look on the priests' faces, looks of rage, looks of "How dare you?" What would they do to Jesus? What would they do to them? Then Jesus said, "Is it not written, 'My house shall be called a house of prayer for all the nations'? But you have made it a den of robbers." And Jesus glared at the chief priests and scribes, and they glared back at him. Now his followers understood why he was so angry. The money changers and merchants selling things were not to be in the temple. Outside was fine, but not inside the most sacred place on earth to God's people. The followers of Jesus realized that they had become so used to the merchants being there, they had stopped really seeing them, stopped thinking of it at all. Now they understood Jesus' anger, but they also saw the faces of the priests and scribes and how angry they were. What would happen now? What would happen now? The scriptural story from Mark 11:15 through 19 reminds us that we can become so used to seeing things, so used to saying things, we may not really see or hear what may cause harm to others, what may hurt people around us. As you begin this most holy week, look around you. Listen to yourself. Do your words lift people up or tear them down? Do you talk about others in a critical way or a loving way? Do you see beauty around you, or do you see all that's wrong? Take some time to listen to your words, to read your words in an email or text. Take some time to think about how you are to be God's house of prayer as you interact with others. Amen.